In the run-up to the 2019 election, the international media spared no expense to target and malign PM Modi. The prominent international media platforms such as the Time magazine, New York Times, the Economist, and the Guardian have never spared an opportunity to insult or mock PM Modi in particular and India in general. India, on the other hand, believes actions to be louder than words and has given a befitting reply to them with the 2019 elections, politely illustrating that we can handle our business and they needn't be concerned for us. The saga of disgracing India has been a precedent for a long time, on many occasions having the typical Orientalist attitude which looks down upon the developing countries. The New York Times has ridiculed India whenever the country has performed tremendously on the international front. In 2014, the New York Times had published an offensive cartoon showing India as a rustic man in a turban along with a cow, essentially aiming to make fun of India's success in its very first Mars mission. Thomson Reuters Foundation, while reporting a positive story about how India has the highest number of women pilots in the world, could not hide its bigotry and racism, and even though the percentage of female pilots in India is twice as high as most Western countries, they ended up adding that this move is despite the typically patriarchal society which frowns upon women in such jobs. In the run-up of the elections, the international media clearly perturbed at the thought of having another right-wing government at the center in India had done everything in its power to dissuade the citizens. It began with the British imperialist news daily, The Guardian, who took it upon themselves to graciously outline the negative aspects of Modi government. The article talks about India's economy and how PM Modi isn't doing much for the poor in the country, and in the same attempt as an economic analyst talks about how Congress minimum income scheme is extremely beneficial. The subheading of the article reads, "Unlike his predecessors, the Indian Prime Minister has in 5 years never held a traditional press conference. What has he got to hide?" The Guardian failed to mention that PM Modi has given interviews to every major media organization in the country. The media portal did not stop there. It further published an article authored by Kapil Komireddy titled, "5 more years of Narendra Modi will take India to a dark place." An extremely derogatory article calling the Prime Minister a bigot and said that the idea of Modi being a technocratic leader was just a myth. Another UK-based platform, The Economist, was recently under fire for publishing a fallacious editorial piece denigrating the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The article was titled, "Agent Orange. Under Narendra Modi, India's ruling party possesses a threat to democracy," and it made several allegations against PM Modi, including critiquing him for his decision on the preemptive strikes against Pakistan. The magazine had even stated that his election the first time round itself was a mystery and the leader quickly needs to be changed. However, all the allegations were devoid of any objective analysis. The most recent write-up on these lines has been the Time magazine story, which carried a caricature of PM Modi on its cover, quoting the Prime Minister as India's divider-in-chief. A controversial title pertaining to an article written by Atish Tasir with the headline, "Can the world's largest democracy endure another 5 years of a Modi government?" It was based on the argument that PM Modi has failed to deliver on his economic agenda promised in 2014 and therefore chose religious nationalism. However, it fails to mention the important macroeconomic reforms and the formulation of the Monetary Policy Committee under the Modi government. The healthy economic growth despite the odds in global economic climate also goes unmentioned, clearly indicating a bias in the view. International media has always tried to portray India in a negative light and leaves no stone unturned to malign India's image with their global propaganda. Despite the fact that India has made significant progress since its independence, the international media in its racist mentality still presents India as a backward country. This mentality is now coupled with the left liberal attitude which has put India's condemnation at the top of the list of priorities. This election result has successfully proven that Indians do not get wavered by their fancy words and fallacious arguments because the citizens have witnessed firsthand what it is like to be a citizen in India led by the Modi government, and they love it.